Welcome to Whiskey's a Journey. My name is Peter Fasciano. Today's Monday. This is the first video in July, and wouldn't you know it, it's been a while since I've done a Japanese single malt whiskey, and that's what I got for you today. Just a reminder, in the description, I have a June and July giveaway happening. All the rules for that giveaway are in the description. So check that out if you want to participate and help out the channel. So today we're looking at the Hakushu Single Malt Japanese Whiskey. This is coming in at 43% ABV. I don't believe it is natural color, and since it's 43% ABV, I think they do some chill filtration. It's aged 12 years in virgin American oak. It is slightly, ever so slightly peated. 750 milliliter bottle, and I wish this was 2021 because this bottle was going for $86 in 2021. But today, unfortunately, it's up to about $300, and I'm in Phoenix, Arizona, if you don't know. Oh, just like always, let's pour it, nose it, taste it, talk about it a little bit, add some water to it, and then if you stick around until the end of the video, I'm gonna give this thing a score and give you some information about the May and June giveaway. So stick around for that if you are interested. Now, it has been quite a while since I've reviewed or even had a Japanese whiskey. On the nose, it comes across as very pineapple-y. Every once in a while, I will end up getting a grilled or a charred pineapple note from peated whiskeys. And even though this char or the peat is way in the background, I'm still getting that charred note of a pineapple. Pretty citrusy, lemon, lime, pick your citrus. I wouldn't say that it's grapefruit, but it's more lemon, lime. Just like all Japanese whiskeys, it seems to be very clean, very crisp, and very delicate. Along with that pineapple note, I'm also getting some pretty good amounts of vanilla. I think it's a pretty standard Japanese whiskey profile. Let's go ahead and get it on the palate. Yeah, there you go. There's the peat. I can kind of get that. I would say that it is a little bit of a ashy peat, not Band-Aid and iodine, and it's almost creeping into that smoked meat charred area. Not quite completely there, but there's a little bit of that savoriness in here. Tell you what, if you have never had Japanese whiskeys before, I suggest you try it. I know they're extremely expensive. If you get a chance to try one in a bar, if you are a person that visits whiskey bars, I would suggest trying one of these. It's light, it's crisp, it's easy to drink. There's nothing harsh, no sharp edges. Everything seems to be pretty well balanced, pretty delicate, but it still has a level of complexity that is intriguing enough that makes you want to go back for another sip. So that's what I'm going to do. Here's that second sip. I'm going to try to concentrate on the finish, add a little bit of water to it, talk about the Hakushu, and then give it a score. Cheers, everybody. On that second sip, I get more of the oak notes. The vanilla's there. That charred pineapple is now taking a little bit of a backseat. I would say the smoky or the ashy note of that peat on that second sip is also a little bit more hidden. It's still there. I would definitely think that if you're sensitive to peat, you would pick it up on here. But for the most part, I think I'm in agreement with other reviews that have talked about this. It is very lightly peated. As it's sitting around, I would say that the finish is medium. I do get a little bit of oak tannin or barrel bitterness on the side of my tongue. Nothing over the top that I would say would be offensive. And I think it's an appropriate medium finish. So let me go ahead and add a couple of drops of water to this and then give you some information about the whiskey. Roll it in the glass, and here we go. So I got to take a look at my notes. It's been a while since I have done a Japanese whiskey, and if my little gerbils aren't running all the time reviewing the Japanese whiskey, that information kind of slows down and vacates my brain. So when we're talking about the Hakushu, this is coming out of the Suntory Distillery. And if you remember or have been here for a while, I did a whole series on Japanese whiskey. Sanjuro Tori and Mazataka Taketsuru were like the original people that started the Japanese boom or Japanese whiskey back in, I think it was 1923. When Sanjuro Tori and Mazataka Taketsuru parted ways, Suntory ended up building a second distillery, which was the Hakushu Distillery I believe it's in the southern central portion of Japan. It's considered to be the distillery within the forest. According to the pictures that I've seen, it looks fantastic. I think they have a bird sanctuary and some trails that you can hike around. It just looks gorgeous. Hakushu Distillery was built in 1972, and like I had just mentioned, Yamazaki Distillery was their first distillery in 1923. Now, Mazutaka Taketsuru ended up building or going off on his own, and that's where we have the Nika distilleries up in the far north. I believe that's where the Nika from the barrel, that's where the Yoichi, that's a peated version as well. I think they have, well, whatever I have up here, I have a split between Suntory whiskeys and Nika whiskeys. If you're interested in the Japanese whiskey, you can go back to my playlist. I have a whole bunch of stuff there. Now, I have to explain myself. The reason why I ended up getting this is because in 2018, well before I ended up starting my whiskey journey, there was a huge run on age-stated Japanese whiskeys. Japanese distilleries put on the brakes pretty hard as their age-stated stocks started to drop quite a bit. The only consistent age-stated Japanese whiskey that I see on the shelves is the Yamazaki 12, and that price over the past 2 years has also jumped up quite a bit. I have never seen the Hakushu on the shelf, and I decided, you know, for the sake of the channel, and it's been such a long time since I've done a Japanese whiskey, I bit the bullet and decided to purchase this, even though it is way, way high in the price range. Now, I do have to tell you that I think that Japanese age-stated whiskeys are gonna start to reappear on the market. More and more Japanese distilleries are starting to come online, and I think it's now been somewhere around 8 years, 7 or 8 years since the age statements went away. So I'm thinking, crossing fingers, hoping that the age statements start to make a resurgence in the market. So now that the water has had its time to do its thing, let's go and get this thing on the nose, taste it one more time, and move on to the score. Doesn't really seem like it has changed that much. It's a little bit lighter. Maybe there's a ginger spice or a pepper spice coming out. That has been my experience in the past. Anytime I add water to whiskey, if anything changes, it's the spice level. Maybe it has something to do with the water-soluble particles and the non-water-soluble particles, and maybe those non-water-soluble particles, when you add water, brings out the spice. Ginger, pepper, that grilled pineapple note is still there. Heavy on the vanilla, citrus is still there. Let's see if it changed on the palate. Lighter, spicier, less of a finish. It's thinned out quite a bit. Even at 43%, I knew adding the water would probably break it down. Japanese whiskeys, from the information that I have gathered, were designed to be used in highballs. I think they had that huge highball campaign, not high balls. My sister should be laughing right now. But I thought I read that Japanese whiskeys were designed to specifically be used and holding up well in a highball. If any of that information is incorrect, let me know in the comments down below. And then also, if you are new to this channel and you end up liking this information and you're not subscribed, do me a favor and subscribe to the channel. Just go ahead and click on that little button right there. Share this with somebody in the whiskey world that might get enjoyment out of it. I produce and release videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, so might as well turn on that bell notification as well if you're interested in new content. All right, let's get on to the score. If you are new to this channel, I rate everything out of 5 stars. Based on the light, crisp, delicate nature of this single malt Japanese whiskey with a very, very touch, a small little tiny kiss of peat, I think this is going to finish pretty high. I like it, and if I were to compare this to something, I would want to say that the Yamazaki 12 minus a little bit of the peat note is almost the same thing. But I also want to say, if you are looking to get into Japanese whiskey and you want something a little bit higher proof, might as well go for the Nika from the barrel. If you can find it, it's a little bit less expensive, a lot less expensive than this. I think the Nika from the barrel, it sits around like $80 right now. And bang for your buck, I think Nika from the barrel might be better than this, or a more viable option, I should say, if you're looking to get into a Japanese whiskey. And if you can find the Yoichi, that's also a peated variant, and I would say that these are similar in profile as well. The Yoichi, I think, is much better than this. So if you can find it, get that one over this one. But if you're looking for something a little bit higher proof, get the Nika from the barrel. Based on everything that I just said, and I have to figure in price on this, even though I like this quite a bit, nothing I think is going to be worth that price tag. On its own, I would give this 3.95, not considering price, but throwing a price in there, that's going to come down to about 3.75. Not about to, it will go down to a 3.75. It is just way, way too expensive for what it's offering. Light, delicate, 43%, short on the finish, not as viscous as I would like in a whiskey, and especially with all the other whiskeys that are out there that are Japanese, that are at a lower price point, I think I would go with those instead. So 3.75 is where I'm going to land on this. If you've had this, let me know in the comments down below what you think of it. And now if you have stayed around this far, I just want to give you some updates on the giveaway. The June giveaway is going to go all the way through the month of July. I have a busy schedule in July as well. My brother-in-law and I are doing some KCBS barbecue events and just running this channel and also heading out of town like every other weekend. It kind of puts a strain on when I can do these giveaways. So if you are interested in the June giveaway, I have made the executive decision to automatically include the Jim Beam Black 7 flight. So whoever wins the June giveaway, that's not going to be part of your 6 2-ounce samples of your choosing. I'm just going to throw that one in automatically. And then you can choose 6 2-ounce samples of anything that I reviewed in June. And since this is the first video coming out in July, same thing applies. You can donate any increment of $5. Any increment of $5 will get you 1 entry into the July giveaway. And if you're confused on me rambling here, just read the rules in the description down below. And if you are outside of the United States, please read the description. Unfortunately, this has to be US participants only. I can't ship anything overseas. And at the time of filming this, we will be leaving to go over to Riverside for our 4th KCBS event. And by the time this airs, I will have already been back from that event. I think it was called the Burnt Offerings KCBS event in Riverside. And if you're curious on how we did, take a look at the community tab in my channel and you'll see some pictures of how things went. So wherever you're at in your journey, I hope you're enjoying it. And until the next time, we'll talk to you later. Bye, everyone.